Welcome to My Alaska Dream. We're making an off-grid homestead right here in Southeast Alaska. So this is the top 10 tips on surviving winter on a homestead or off-grid. Tip number 1, have enough firewood on hand. You want to have enough firewood on hand for at least a year. You want at least to be able to burn your wood in a year. I would say at least 2 years, but you know, sometimes that isn't always, that's not always going to be the case. So tip number 1, have enough firewood for a year and a half, 2 years. Now I always try to keep firewood on the porch and some down here just close so we don't have to go and get it all the time. So we'll make runs every once in a while and fill the trailer full of wood and then bring it up here and stack it all up on the porch. And then I made this a few months ago, and this basically in 20-30 degree weather, this will hold 3 days worth of firewood, and for like right now we're in the single digits, it'll hold basically about 2 days worth of firewood. Now that we got this all filled up, we'll bring this inside, and that should last us another couple days or so. So number 2 is having enough water on standby. Now, with temperatures like this, eventually our 275-gallon IBC tote would freeze up. But typically we don't stay in the single digits. So if we're 20 degrees or above, and typically we'll warm up into the 30s and it'll start raining again, we'll be just fine with the IBC tote. But basically when it gets like this, we'll have a little tiny layer of ice on top there, and you just have to go down there and see, I just broke through that. So as long as you're getting water daily, it's not gonna form a huge sheet of ice on top of the water here. So that's our main way to getting water in the wintertime. So as an emergency reserve, we also keep several of these little 5-gallon water jugs. We keep several of these on hand. That's just in case our big one ever freezes up and we can't break through the ice or anything. We've got several jugs of these things sitting around. We just bring them inside. They'll thaw out, and that way we can use them for water. So number 3 is stockpiling enough food to last each person at least a month. Now we've got a very tiny little pantry here because we haven't added on to the addition of our cabin. That's going to be our kitchen and our main pantry, but this plus some little bins we have outside in our entryway and our freezer contains well more than a month of food for the both of us. So that's number 3. You definitely want to have enough food to sustain you for at least a month or 2. Also, we keep 2 5-gallon buckets. That's just one's beans, one's rice. That's our, oh my goodness, the doo-doo has hit the fan. We are out of food. That's our emergency reserve, so we know that we'll be fine with 50 pounds of rice and 50 pounds of beans we can eat. I mean, it may not taste great, but we won't go hungry. The other thing to think about is your pets and your whatever animals you're raising, like chickens. You want to make sure that you keep at least a month or 2 months of food for them as well. Tip number 4 is having enough fuel, oil, and hydraulics on hand. You don't want to need that stuff and run out of it when you need it the most. So be sure to keep enough on hand. Now we've been out here 3 weeks without going to town, and there's the 2 raven families. They seem to be getting along okay. Oh. So we have 2 ravens, a male and female, that live on our side of the island, on the south side. And then there's another pair that lives on the north side of the island. And every once in a while they'll meet up. And today's one of those days. Sometimes the north side gets chased off by the south side. And I'm sure when our guys go over to the north side, they get chased off. But they seem to be doing pretty good together right now. So like I was saying, we've been out here 3 weeks now, and this is the fuel that we still have. So here's the gas we have left. We have 4 5-gallon cans of gasoline, and each 5-gallon can will last us 3 days. So we've basically got two more weeks worth of fuel on hand here. The yellow stuff back here is number 2 diesel, and that's what we use in the tractor. So that's not as important, but as you can see, we still have ton of diesel fuel for the tractor left over. So not only do we have a wood stove, we also have an oil stove, a Toyo stove. We typically don't run that in the winter time when the temperatures are like this. We just go strictly wood. But in the spring and fall, when the temperatures are in the high 30s and 40s, we'll run that just so we don't have to have the cabin at like 85, 90 degrees. It's nice to have something that just keeps it at a constant like 60, 65, 70 degrees. So here's the fuel we keep for our Toyo stove, our oil stove, and it's number 1 diesel. The other thing you want to make sure is you got enough oil. And so here's the oil for the generator, the tractors. Here's extra hydraulic oil I got for the tractor. You just don't want to have an emergency and then need this stuff and not have it on hand. So that's why we keep extra stuff here, just in case we, like if I have an oil leak or something, I need to put oil in it, or I bust a hydraulic hose and need hydraulic fluid. I'll have the stuff on hand here, and that way I can just do a repair and get the machine back up and operational again. The other thing I'd say is get some of your water remover. So this is like heat. It's a gas line, antifreeze, and a water remover. I add this to my 5-gallon cans of gasoline, and then just keep using it through the machinery. Obviously not the diesel machines, but for the gasoline stuff, I use this, and that just removes any of the water and keeps the fuel lines from freezing up. There's red heat and yellow heat. You just research it. I put red heat in the boat, and I put yellow heat in the generators and the four-wheeler here. So number 5 is keep an eye on your vehicles. We've got the ATV here, we've got the tractor, and we've got several generators. We've got 2 small generators and a large generator just for backups. So anything that has a battery, and when you get down in colder weather like the single digits, I try to start everything up, whether I'm using it or not, at least once a week. Let the battery recharge, let everything get lubricated again, and it's just good not to let it sit for too long in cold weather like this. So now we got it started. I'll let that thing warm up for a couple minutes. That way I'll give it a warm up stage before I put a load on it. So tip number 6 is dressing layers. I like to start my layers off with a nice pair of wool socks, some wool long johns, a nice moisture wicking t-shirt, another set of moisture wicking long john tops, or you can just have a moisture wicking long sleeve shirt, a nice pair of wool pants, a nice warm jacket, a beanie to top it off. You can also wear a scarf or a gaiter, or if you've got a luscious beard, you can just sport that. And depending on how cold it is, I'll just wear some wool gloves, or I've got these big thick gloves if it's super cold outside, or if it's not that cold, I'll just wear a regular pair of leather work gloves. And to finish it all off is to wear a nice warm pair of boots. If it's super cold outside, I'll put these nice warm Sorels on. If not, then I'll just wear my extra tough or my bogs. The key is you just want to stay warm and stay dry. Those ravens are going crazy. So number 8 is 2 is 1, 1 is none. So this is a dramatic reenactment of 2 days ago. I was getting water and I was walking up the steps and I slipped on some snow or something and I fell and I landed like this and I cracked our only hand pump to pump water. So luckily I took some of that Grace the Grace membrane stuff that you use for like undersheathing for windows or on top of roofs, and I put 2 wraps around it and it still works fine. So we only got 1 hand pump. So I mean, we could manually come through with like a ladle or a small little bucket and scoop out water and pour into the thing, but it's just so much easier using that hand pump. So luckily I was able to fix it, but next time I go to town I'll definitely be picking up another hand pump. So tip number 9 is keep your place warmer by pulling your curtains down in the wintertime and closing off any doors that you're not using. The curtains will keep the cold from coming all the way into your place, and closing your doors off will keep you from heating that section of your cabin up. La da da la da da la. Oh hi, I didn't notice you there. Yes, I am working on YouTube videos. Step number 10 is keep yourself busy. You can work on making videos or indoor projects or outdoor projects or play games with your significant other, but keep yourself busy. Go on little walks or hikes, feed your animals, play with your animals, but keep yourself busy. It'll keep the monotony from just staying inside the cabin all the time to a minimum, and it will keep you mentally sharp. That's step number 10. I better get back to work. Silence on set! Trying to produce a production film here, everybody. Production film. I know I told you there was 10 steps, but guess what? Bonus tip. Tip number 11. Embrace the suck. It's a real term. In the Army, we learn how to embrace the suck. From E1 all the way to E9, you learn how to embrace the suck. It's just a mental game that you play with yourself. It's like, man, this sucks so bad. I wonder what it would take to make it even suckier. Oh. Or you can say, man, this sucks really bad, but you know what? I'm going to make the most of it. That's kind of what embrace the suck is.
Oh, this kind of went out.
We're having fire issues now. She was supposed to clap. Mama!
Yes, Daddy.
That's a wrap, everybody!
That's a wrap.
You're supposed to clap.
I can't. I'm throwing my hand off here.
We're having some technical difficulties here.
There we go.
Now are we ready?
Yes.
That's a wrap, everybody! Gonna tell them to click the thumbs up button. Shake. There you go.